You are listening to Veterans Action Report on KGRA Digital Broadcasting. I'm your host, Nick, coming to you live from St. Paul, Minnesota.
And I'm Andrew Canales, coming to you live from Evergreen, Colorado.
Every day, veterans are struggling with many issues spanning from homelessness to mental health crisis, often leading to 22 veterans a day taking their own lives. There are veterans all around the U.S. leading the fight to help guide our brothers and sisters to a better life. We will bring you stories from all around the country telling tales of veteran struggles and triumph. Every episode benefits veteran-run nonprofits Warriors Next Adventure, helping veterans fight PTSD through recreational therapy and new adventures. And Houses for Warriors, helping solve the homeless crisis, leading veterans to a better lifestyle. Good afternoon and welcome to Veterans Action Report on KGRA Digital Broadcasting. As always, thank you KGRA for giving us this time slot. This is a community service show where we talk about veterans and veteran things, veteran actions. So in the military, an after action report is what we do after we do something, so we can talk about the good, the bad, and the ugly. And so kind of what we do here is the Veterans Action Report. We bring on veterans who are entrepreneurs, authors, athletes, and doing all kinds of amazing things. And so what we like to do is highlight as many different veteran organizations and veteran nonprofits and veteran business as possible. Kind of think of it as your way to get a large network out there. Now, being on the radio is super helpful just because there's a lot of folks that listen to KGRA, and it's really helped me project our voice a lot farther than ever expected. So thanks again, KGRA. Also, for anybody listening on KGRA and you want to text in, I have a text number that comes directly to me. You can text us during the show. 612-467-9489. Again, that's 612-467-9489. And anybody else listening on Facebook or YouTube, go ahead and just comment as much as possible. We'll do our best to interact with you guys during the show. Go ahead and check out Veterans Action Report on Facebook and YouTube, and please like and subscribe. The more people we have following us, the more ways we have to make a little bit of money off of this. I don't get paid to do Veterans Action Report. It's just another thing that I do for free upon the millions and millions of things I do for free. So the only way we could potentially make a little bit of cash out of this is to either subscribe to our Patreon, which is in the comments, or you can go over and like and subscribe on our YouTube, and eventually we'll at least be able to pay for the internet. It would be sweet. Doesn't cost much, but it would be nice. So a little bit of update on Warriors Next Adventure. We are almost done building our street stock car. We are sponsored by Rip It Energy. And by the way, I just went down to my local Dollar Tree and they're like $1.25. So I bought like 20 of them. So we always have Rip It Energy with us when we're building, or we're going to be at the racetracks. We're also going to have Rip It's with us. Probably not going to be giving them out because I know how veterans are. We're probably just going to drink them all. So Rip It Energy has been a huge supporter of Warriors Next Adventure since last year. They sponsored our tour around the country. So I personally, they're not sponsoring Veterans Action Report. However, they're awesome, and they've been a huge support to myself and what I'm trying to do with Warriors Next Adventure. So I appreciate them. Also, we're looking to get a couple other sponsors. As of now, we're working on, we got like 3 different people interested. They just haven't sent the check yet. So we still have 5 dirt track race cars available to sponsor. If you guys want to sponsor that, we have a sprint car, we have a pure stock, we have a super stock, 2 street stocks, and a Hornet. The Hornet is a little Saturn Ion. That's the one that we're going to be rotating veterans in and out of. The only reason why we're focusing on keeping people in the Hornet, because if you race a higher level, which is a street stock, you will not ever be able to race in a Hornet again that year, at least, I think, for a certain amount of time. So we're trying to keep different classes. So far, we have about 10 to 15 different veterans that are interested in racing with Warriors Next Adventure. So I can't wait to get those guys out there. I talked to Andrew not too long ago. They get a lot of great things going on with convergent seminars, and they're using them to raise a bunch of money for Houses for Warriors. And these guys essentially paid for the group home that they have. They paid for the whole year's worth of rent in one night. They raised all the money, which is absolutely fantastic. So go ahead and check those guys out, and you can donate to them and follow their Facebook. They have a YouTube as well, and you can get some info on there. Andrew Canales, who is my co-host, he runs that one as well. So, all right, into the show today. Today I'm actually going to have on Will Janssen. We served together in the military back in 2006-ish to like 2009-ish, and never deployed together, but we talked about rowing the Mississippi or the St. Croix or how fun it would be. A couple years later, we ended up rowing the St. Croix River. The entire St. Croix was like 155 miles, and I'll have Will tell a little bit of story about that. But he's also my board member for Warriors Next Adventure, also one of the other knuckleheads that's rowing the Atlantic with me. So I'll bring him on here. What's up, Will? How you doing?
Good. How are you, brother?
Good, man. Thanks for doing this last minute. I appreciate it. I had another guest lined up, but they bailed on me.
Yeah, for sure.
I appreciate it. So for many of you guys that don't know, the Whoopee, which is the boat that we're rowing, is actually at Will's shop over in Wisconsin. So tell us a little about your shop and all of the help that you've been for not only Fight or Die, but for myself as well.
Yeah, my shop. I just built a new shop last year. I started my furniture business in 2012. After getting out of the Air Force, I used my GI Bill and I did 2-year. It's called a residential construction and cabinet making technical diploma. And I started St. Croix Custom Furniture. That was my first business in 2012. And I had a shop in the town of Webster. And 2 years ago, we had the opportunity to turn that into a youth center. So that's a youth center now. And I built a new shop at my house. And that was one of my lifelong dreams.
I'm so jealous of that shop, man. It's so beautiful.
Yeah,
it's so bad.
It's definitely a work in progress with lumber costs now. It's kind of overwhelming, but a little bit at a time. So,
is your camera mobile? Can you show us that sauna that you're working on?
Not really.
Okay,
that'll be kind of hard, but.
So last time we were up there, Will showed us this sauna that he hand built. You made it all of cedar, right?
Yeah.
Bro, that thing is amazing.
Yep. Yeah, the idea was I'm kind of all about the off the grid type stuff. And so in it is a wood burning sauna stove. So the idea is you can put it at your house and you don't have to be hooked up to electricity or anything like that. And put a couple sticks in there and fire it up. It's not very big. It's 6x8. But yeah, that little wood burner stove, man, she'll fire it up real fast.
Have you tested it out in there? Is it pretty warm?
We have not tested the stove in the sauna. So
we'll have to try to knock that out before winter's done.
Yep, for sure.
Sounds like May, which hopefully it's warmer. Caitlin's actually coming up and we're doing our the immersion training is what they call it, right?
Yeah, we'll see. I'm having troubles finding a life raft that we can deploy. So if we can find a life raft that somebody will let us deploy, then yeah, that's the plan.
Well, I guess if they get the new one and we have the old one down in Mobile, we can do it down in Mobile, right? But we have to find someone that can train us.
Yeah, Caitlin can train us. So maybe we'll have to fly her to Mobile later in the year.
No, okay. Yeah, no, that makes sense. So tell everybody kind of like how you got involved in this whole row thing. Like we were working on rowing the St. Croix. Was that was fall 2020?
That was August of 2020. Yeah. And I left North Carolina in 2009 and we never kept in touch. I mean, we worked a little bit together, but we never kept in touch. And then I saw you had started Warriors Next Adventure. And so I reached out maybe 2019 and we did some wolf dog stuff. But yeah, I love the water and I love being on the rivers and stuff. And, the St. Croix is a pretty big river for our area. And, 150, the idea was to do 155 miles in 5 days. Well, you break that down and you're paddling for 35 miles a day, which, sounded pretty extreme at the time. And you had interviewed Bryant while we were, preparing for our row down the river. And I listened to the podcast and I said, bro, we got to step it up after this. This dude just rode 3,000 miles. We can't be, we got to step up our game. So apparently we had inspired somebody else, to do an ocean row, and that was Chad. And so he reached out and here we are training for ocean row now.
Yeah, I still can't believe this is actually happening. This is insane.
Yeah.
The funny thing is, I think after we had that conversation, we were like, yeah, we should do the Mississippi River or something like that. I'm like, yeah, well, let's get through the St. Croix first.
Well, that's the thing. I was like, okay, 155 miles, that's one thing, but 3,000, let's find something in the middle, right?
Yeah.
At least with the Mississippi, what is it, like 2,300 miles or something? But you're going downstream. You're going downstream the whole time.
Yeah.
You're not fighting 30-foot waves on the Atlantic Ocean, but
yeah, I was
here we
actually
are.
watching some of the videos from this year and like seeing some of those giant waves that we're going through. I'm like, man, I think I'm kind of nervous about the waves, man.
Yeah, yep.
Like,
I'm nervous about sleeping in the cabin and like wake up flying through the air, as the boat slamming down on stuff.
I know, right?
Kind
I
of nervous
guess
about that.
I was thinking about it the other day, like some of those screws and everything that are sticking out. Like, can you imagine catching a kneecap on one of those when the boat overturns?
Well,
Ooh,
so the Pelican, the Molly panel that I just mounted, I got some little tiny rubber caps, I guess you could call them. And so even
nipples.
though nipples, even though the stud head only sticks out, I don't know, quarter inch or something, I still put a
Yeah.
little cap on each one of them, thinking about that in the future. I mean, if you're in there and the boat rolls, I mean, you don't want a whole bunch of little bolt heads scraping you up either. So
No, I mean, you think about it. You hit it hard enough, that could end the row for you.
yeah, yep.
Like I was thinking about that the other day. We were watching a documentary on, I think it was like the South or Antarctica or something like that, and there were some giant waves, and I'm like, oh man, those waves are huge. And they were talking about like 25-foot swells. I'm like, oh my god, it's only 25. Like, oh,
Mm-hmm.
I think what was it last year? There was like 40-foot swells.
Oh, I didn't hear that. That's crazy. I mean, that's longer than our boat is.
Yeah, that's terrifying. It's just obnoxious. But I can't wait to actually, I can't wait to get I can't wait to get to La Gomera. I forgot what the name was for a second. I just can't wait to get there and start training and like working on the boat and like getting ready to actually go, because for me, I mean, like when I was a cage fighter, I'd be meditating before the fight and it's like, and it would never really kick in that what I was actually about to do until I stepped inside the ring. So I feel like it's going to be the same thing for this ocean row. Like, hey, I've thought about it a few times. I'm like, damn, that's going to be crazy. But I'm just like, I do crazy stuff all the time. But I think this, my daughter asked me this morning before we went to school. She's like, what's the craziest thing you've ever done? I'm like, man, I've done a lot of dumb shit. I was like, it's got to be the ocean row. Like, I haven't done it yet, but I can't think of anything.
Just saying yes to it. Yeah.
Yeah, that might be it so far. And then so we've been up to your place a couple times now to drop the boat off, and then we all went up there. What was it like? Was it February?
Yeah, it's February.
Yeah, that was fun. We went up there and then we went out, dressed up in like full gear and everything like that with our matching shirts. I'm surprised we didn't have matching pants and shoes. That would have been better. But no, it's been a lot of fun. Your community is super supportive.
Yeah, super, super. We live in a pretty small, the town we live next to is only 600 people. And so everybody knows everybody. And overwhelming positive response, just for veteran support. So.
Well, and the beautiful thing is too, is like not only just like supporting us, but monetarily supporting us too. Like Aaron, donating those oars to us, like brand new oars. I can't wait.
Yep.
I can't believe he did that. It's amazing.
Yep.
He's a good dude. So we still have a lot of stuff we got to get, man. Like you saw that list that Caitlin sent us the other day. Yep. We have most of it, don't we? Or at least
most of it. Yeah.
Sweet.
We either have it or know we need to get it. Yeah.
Seriously. So like the funniest thing, I think we did the interview before. No, it was actually after. We're talking about Tommy in that tiny little orange crab suit.
Yes.
I still think we should make him wear that the entire row.
Can you imagine being on the water, bobbing around, trying to get that thing on?
Oh no, dude! I had to literally help him pull it over his body. It's obnoxious. That's crazy. So, what does your family think of this? Like, I've had a lot of people ask me, like, what does your family think? I'm always doing crazy shit. So everyone's just like, it's just Nick being Nick. But like, you've rode the river with me and you've done some pretty cool stuff, but this is pretty massive. Like your wife is one of the most supportive women I've ever met. But how has your family really been taking to you rowing across the ocean?
Pretty good. Like you said, Steph and I, we've been together for 19 years now. We've been married for 19 years.
Wow.
And she is just super supportive. Like, she understands where I think this falls under the category of a little bit of risk, a little bit of adventure, right? And she understands I need some of that in my life. And so she's super supportive of that.
That's good. What about your kids?
My youngest was like, that's crazy. And my oldest, she's a freshman in college now. And I don't know, she's pretty stone faced like I am, So I feel like we've always tried to teach our children to don't say no, right? And just go out there, experience it. And if you don't like it, then try something else. But you got to get out there and experience it to actually know if you don't like it or not.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And you guys travel quite a bit. Last time I was there, or a couple times before, you showed me a lot of your travel photos, and you guys have done some amazing family vacations.
Yeah, so Hannah is 18. Well, she's a freshman in college, and she hit her 49th state this year. We had done enough family trips where we've got to go to all the lower 48 states, and then that's both my kids. Both my kids have been to all lower 48 states.
Oh wow, that's amazing. Yep. You guys ever been to Hawaii?
I have not. I was born in Alaska, actually, and that was Hannah's 49th. She just went to Hawaii. She's got a friend who
is going to college
down there. Yeah, my dad was stationed at Fairbanks, so that's where I was born.
I had no idea. I always thought that you just lived and stayed in Webster your whole life.
Nope.
That's crazy. So, now that we've made the announcement to your dad, we recently announced we need somebody to come to La Gomera to help us out with some stuff. Like essentially to be a runner and get parts and anything that we may need. And your dad actually accepted it. Your dad is much like you when it's just like, oh yeah, sure. But I could tell he was super excited.
Yeah. Oh yeah. He was super, super excited. I think that's the one thing I learned from my dad. One of the things is just be willing to try something new. And when I told him, we were going to row across the ocean, I mean, instantaneous excitement, like he was the one that dropped us off to when we did our St. Croix trip, he's the one that dropped us off, and he's about adventure as well.
Yeah, he's been very supportive of what we're doing, and getting to know him a little bit more over the last year has been pretty nice, man. Your dad is awesome, and those what were those things that was it your dad's wife made? Those little fucking venison sticks. We're gonna need like a whole backpack of those out on the ocean with us.
Was it like summer sausage or something?
They were like the teriyaki sticks or whatever.
Oh, I don't remember.
I don't know what they were. It was meat, and I said yes, and I ate them, and they were delicious. So
yeah. So we kind of need somebody to be able to like run up to the hardware store if we need something, or Jeannie's super excited about cooking us tons of food in La Gomera.
Oh, so I forgot about that.
Yep,
that might be the thing I'm most excited for now, in La Gomera at least. Dude, it's so cool because every time I watch a video of the ocean, like I've been watching ocean documentaries, and there's a really good documentary. If none of you guys have heard of it, it's called Losing Sight of Shore. It's about a couple women who decide to. That was the Pacific row, right? Where they went down to Hawaii and everything.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah.
Yeah. So they ended up taking off, and they got like, I think, what was it, like 150 miles or something like that, and something broke. They had to go all the way back to shore. And they had to fix their boat and start all over. Oh man, that's so sad. And but it's just a beautiful documentary, and the whole thought of losing sight of shore. I think about that a lot. And I've had a few dreams of us in the middle of the ocean too. It's never been bad. It's always just been us in the ocean. That's it. And I cannot wait to experience that. Just losing sight of Spain, like, and just being in the middle of nowhere. I can't wait for that.
Yeah. Yeah, I think it might be exciting for a day or two, but what about day 40? when all you've seen is me and Tommy and Chad? Yeah, you're like, I want to see something else now.
See, I don't know, man. Like I love adventures so much, but I've never done something to this extent. This will be the craziest adventure I've ever been on. You know, I mean, if you count deployments to Iraq and Afghanistan, sure, but that,
Different crazy.
yeah, yeah, it's a little different. You know, like especially we're not getting rocketed or shot at out there, which would be nice. If we're getting rocketed and shot at out in the middle of the ocean, something's wrong.
Yeah, that's not good.
Yeah,
That's
no.
not good.
Let's hope we avoid that. But no, the best part, like I've asked Chad, Tommy, and I've expressed this myself, but like, what's something you're most excited for to get out in the middle of water?
Oh, excited for. I mean, I'm excited to see whales and the wildlife. It'd be super cool if they hung out for a couple days, and you got to interact with them.
Mm-hmm.
What else? I don't know. I'm excited to see how we come through as a team. It's a really big mental challenge, and I'm excited to challenge myself that way.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know.
Yeah, I think the cool thing is we all get along pretty well, and we all kind of understand when one of us is kind of getting quiet, just leave them alone. You know, that's one thing. And I know when I get overwhelmed, I just get really really quiet. But every time we're together, we're just laughing and goofing off, and the whole thought of like people taking this too seriously, like that always popped up in my head. Like, this should be fun. Like, we should have a good time while we're doing this. I'm not going to be that guy that's, just like, we got to get this done. Blah. Like, no, let's goof off. And I mean, people have seen pictures of me wearing that stupid sailor hat while we're cleaning the boat. And like, we should have fun doing this. This is literally about to be an adventure of a lifetime.
Mm-hmm. I'm excited. I'm excited to have experienced something with 3 other guys that nobody else in the whole world has ever experienced, right? Like nobody will know what we went through on whatever day. And I'm excited to share that experience with you guys.
Yeah. Yeah, me too. And especially with all the, like, I got 2. How many GoPros do you have?
Just one, but it's in our budget to get more.
Okay, cool. Well, I have 2. Chad has 1. I don't think Tommy has one, so we got to get him one too. But we're gonna have a bunch of different ones, and I like the idea of the whole the journal. If we could do like a video diary or something like that every day, because as I've said on the show multiple times, I'm writing a book called The Warrior's Path to Inner Peace, and I want to get that book done before we leave because I think it'd be cool to like people could buy my book while I'm gone, shit like that. That'd be cool. But I want to write a book when we get back too. And then we can all discuss what we do with the funds from that, whether we split it between the 4 of us or, we donate it or something like that. I don't know. But I'd like to write a book about the row and essentially use all the video diaries, and make a documentary about it and everything. Like it's working on 2 documentaries is going to be tough. Working on one has already been a pain in the ass. Dude, the other day I spent 6 hours working on the intro for the PTSD versus Jiu-Jitsu documentary, and I think I got like 4 minutes of film.
Yep.
It's terrible, dude. Like, it takes so long. So if anybody's really good at video editing, you want to come by my place in Minneapolis or St. Paul, hook it up.
Yeah, I think if you're good at it, then I think it's easier, but if it's just you're doing it on the side or whatever, I've done a little bit too, and it can be extremely frustrating.
Yeah, no, for sure. Like I'm sure you saw, but I finally put our row on the St. Croix on the YouTube.
I didn't see, but I said something to Tommy. He's like, "Oh no, it's on there. I saw it." So yeah,
I think you said something. It was a couple months ago. I was like, yeah, much like that video that I made for you and you haven't done anything with. I'm like, damn it, you're right. But no, I finally put that on YouTube, and then I have all the training that we did in Buffalo all on a reel. I just have to do I'm still adjusting a few things here and there and debating on music. And I got the interview with Hillary and stuff like that. So either way, I think it'd be really cool to have a really cool documentary, much like Losing Sight of Shore, right? So your dad got us those really cool journals, right? The leather-bound journals. And I started writing in that thing from like day one. And already it's been a crazy road since the day we all said yes to where we're at now. all of us have been through some life-changing things, like, you know, coming up soon, and then me myself, you know, getting cancer and overcoming that, and then possibly having lung cancer, and it's obnoxious. And then Tommy and his wife going through some issues, and Chad getting out of the Air Force. It's just our lives have been turned upside down since we all said yes.
I think when I haven't started in my journal, but I think it kind of puts it in perspective. Like, this was a really, really big thing in my life, but then you move on, and when you look back at it, you're like, oh, well, this is how it affected me, and this is how it affected my decisions now.
Mm-hmm.
So I do think it's important.
Well, you know, and the beautiful thing is, like, you've always been somebody who kind of just did your own thing. Like, you started. When did you start your carpentry business?
2012.
That was 12. Okay. And then
Yep.
you also started another business with your partner. What's his name again?
His name is John. Yeah, that was 5 years ago in July. So 2016, 17, 16.
Okay.
Yeah, he came to me with an idea of, you know, investing in some properties and flipping properties, and we kind of had three ideas, you know, three buckets that we wanted to fill. One was flipping properties, one was own something commercial, and the other was like long-term rentals, you know, or leasing stuff. And we started flipping houses, well, cabins, and then in 2019 we ended up buying a campground, and the campground kind of filled the other two buckets, you know, commercial and
Mhm.
long-term rentals. So, and then
You guys
from
added a
that,
lot of campsites there, didn't you?
yeah, we were at 83. Yeah, 83, and I added 52. So
Oh,
that's
wow.
130. Yeah, so we're at 135 seasonal sites now, full hookups. But that partnership led to another partnership where we buy land in your neck of the woods and just develop land, you know, turn into smaller lots. So,
Mhm. Well, there's actually something here. We'll talk about it offline, but I've been wanting to get involved in this for a long time, and I've been talking to you, and you've actually been essentially coaching me here and there, just kind of, you know, anytime I have a question, I call you, and, you know, you've helped me look for a couple properties for W&A. And you know, the hard thing is, you know, getting the capital to get started. That's always been my issue. Um, you remember Will or Daniel West? That's him. Goofball. He's actually doing a fundraiser for us here soon, which is pretty sweet. So hopefully he brings in some dough for us. But I've been wanting to get into rentals as well. But every time an opportunity comes up, it just wouldn't work out. And like, my life just kept doing this, and then the whole cancer thing and losing my job, and, you know, quitting the state patrol was the best thing that ever happened to me. But financially, it's really kicked me in the nuts. So it's been kind of difficult. So I'm hoping with this new company, Invoke Change, I can actually kind of, you know, use that to get some decent money flow coming in, and then eventually start my dream of, you know, essentially rental properties. You know, my goal is to start my own rental company. You know, the best part about that would.
Well, I know I've told you this before. I think if you're going to consider rentals, it's so much easier to stick with local, right? I know you're thinking about going, you know, spreading out a little bit, but it's so much easier when it's just down the road and you can take care of the issues that arise.
That's
that
part of the
way.
reason why North Carolina never happened, because I was thinking about
Mhm.
that, and I'm like, man, I got, you know, Judd, one of our other board members, lives in North Carolina, so he could help me out, and we talked to him about it. But I was just like, eh. So I decided to just pay off all my debt instead. So
Yep.
completely debt free, which is wonderful.
That's a good way to go too, for sure.
I know, right? Well, I was like, you know, I could get another property, and I could slowly pay it off. And I'm like, I'm just gonna pay everything off, just get it over with. And because I lost my job, you know, when I had cancer and everything, I was like, I don't know what I'm gonna do, you know, because this was before I got, you know, increased from the VA. And I'm like, I don't know, I gotta cut all my bills, and so paying off all my debts saved me like $500 a month, man. So I'm like, all right,
Yep.
I'll be all right. So
Yep.
yeah, works out nice. And then now, you know, I run Warriors Next Adventure full time. I have my sole proprietorship where I help people start businesses, and then I have Invoke Change where I'm a life coach and teach motivational speaking. You were a big part of my inspiration to just say screw it and go off and do my own thing, because I've been living the rat race for so long, man, and I just see how you lived. And I went out and saw your property and I'm like, God, I want that so bad. And I'm like, you know what, I'm never gonna be like this working at the state patrol.
Yeah, I don't think I'd ever be able to go work for somebody now. Like, you get set in this mindset of, I mean, I can go to my kids' volleyball games after school. I don't have to ask for time off. I just schedule my work accordingly, and I do what I want when I want.
That's what's been really nice about what I do. So, like, quick rundown for a lot of people who don't understand. Warriors Next Adventure, long story short, we do mental health. We help people with mental health. But we also, what's up, Corey? You remember Corey Coughlin?
Oh, yeah.
We help vets with PTSD, suicide prevention. We get a 24/7 suicide hotline, but I'm also a free life coach for veterans. We've serviced 30,000 veterans in the last 3 years. And so, again, being inspired by you and many other, veteran entrepreneurs, I'm like, you know what, why don't I just start my own life coaching business? I already do this. Like, why not? And so I've already had a few clients, and I've only been around for 2 weeks, which has been amazing. I have a class that I'm teaching on Monday or on Sunday. And then I also got into a bunch of different community education places. So locally in Minneapolis, St. Paul, my mom is a director of community education. And she suggested, like, why don't you go start teaching classes at community ed? And so I'm teaching classes on intro into public speaking, or like how to be a motivational speaker. And then I'm doing follow-up classes. And then I'm also teaching classes on like how to start a nonprofit and nonprofit management, after I was rejected by Hamlin University to go to their nonprofit management course. So I'm like, fuck you guys, I'm going to start my own shit. And
yeah, but go back to you starting a business. How easy was it?
So, like, I personally it's simple.
Yeah, I know it's a couple $100s to file your LLC, right? And your LLC protects you, so, like, people are saying, I don't want to take the risk. Well, there's a couple $100 risk, really. Like, there's not much to it.
Yeah. Well, no, I've started 6 incorporations and I've started 2 LLCs, and I think I've been involved in 11 nonprofit startups. So when it comes to the business side of it, I already kind of knew what to do, but I had never done an LLC. So ironically, I had a veteran come to me the same day I was going to do my LLC. He's like, dude, I need to file an LLC. I was like, well, just come over, let's do it. And I was debating on what to do, and I called you and said, hey, I should just do an LLC for this, right? And you're like, yeah, just make it easier on yourself. And then I talked to my business. Joe Perry works for Alpha Financial, and he helps me with the nonprofit, also does my taxes. I get like massive anxiety when it comes to taxes, and I just show up and just like, here.
Yep.
He just does it for me. But he verified everything that I told him I was doing. He's like, yeah, that works, dude. Just do that. I want to say, like, my dumbass thinking that we're going to get mailed something, and I didn't realize there was a line on the bottom that says you'll get an email. And I'm like, man, I'm waiting. 2 days go by. I checked my email, and I got my LLC that night. So anybody can file an LLC. You can get an EIN instantly for free. Do not pay anybody to get an EIN. I've heard of so many people going to LegalZoom and paying like $300-400 to get an EIN. You literally just go to the IRS website and type apply for a EIN. That's it.
Yep.
And then it was $255, or was it $150? It was either $155 or $255 for your LLC. And that's it. And then like $140 or something like that for a website on Weebly. All of that, you're out $300-400 and done. You're starting your own business, which was super simple.
Yep.
I'm lucky I have no overhead, which is wonderful. Like, I have zero overhead. The only time I'll have overhead is when we start doing the seminars, which I finally finished. I'll let you know when the first one's going to be, because I want you to come down and essentially participate, but I want you to tear it apart. I respect your opinion, so I want people there that I know will not only be honest with me, but also, encourage me and push me when I'm doing the right things.
Right.
How important is it to have a partner? Because I wanted to focus on entrepreneurship with you just because of everything you started doing. And how important is it to build a good team?
Oh, I mean, it's extremely important. So for my first business, St. Croix Custom Furniture, it's always just been me, and so when John reached out to me, I mean, you're always going to have hesitancies about, working with somebody else, but John and I would say we're polar opposites, which, I mean, people always say like your wife or whoever, like they're going to be your opposite, and that's who you're attracted to. John is very financially mindset, and I'm very hands-on mindset, right? So John takes care of all the paperwork. He's a way better people person than I am, right? So he answers the phone, and I'm out there doing the day-to-day stuff, which I enjoy doing, and he likes doing the other stuff. So for us, it's worked out extremely well. So
yeah, I've talked to both you guys a few times. When he picked us up at the end of the row, and then also at the party at the bar.
Yep.
Super cool dude, and it's really cool to talk to him about business stuff too. And how I started my sole proprietorship was actually like talking to you guys and like, man, this is super easy. And then when I started my own corporation, and then I started helping other nonprofits start. It's as simple as starting a corporation, and then from there you just file for your 1023 EZ. I was like, this is really simple. Why don't more people start their own business? And I would say, so I want to give my opinion, but I also want yours. Why do you think most people fail to start their own business or hold back? I have a theory that I say jumping into the fog, right? There's that smoke screen where you don't know what's on the other side, right? You're definitely sure what's on this side. You know what's on this side. But how are you ever going to know what's on the other side of that smoke screen if you don't jump?
Well, it goes back to taking a risk, right? Like some people they're not risk takers, right? And so there's plenty of people out there who will do a really good job for you as an employee, right? But then on the other hand, there's people that can't work for other people, and I would say I probably fall under that category. So like I'm just willing to take a risk. And I mean, like for me, I started one business, right? And now I'm up to 4, right? And it really gets easier and easier. And you find yourself pushing yourself more and more. And that's the other thing good about a business partner is you can bounce ideas off of each other, and you can push each other to do bigger and better things.
Yeah. Yeah. It's always nice to go bigger, So the beauty of all that is the big thing that I'm trying to do with Invoke Change. It's everything that I do all aligns with each other. So my sole proprietorship, I think I'm just gonna do everything through Invoke Change now because it's easier, right? So I have life coaching, we have motivational speaking, and I think I'm just gonna add business coaching in there too. And then when it comes to any financial stuff, I'm not doing that. You want financial coaching? I'm gonna send you to like a certified CPA because I still, like I said, running 3 of them. I'm not great at that kind of stuff,
Yeah.
I do enough to where I'm like legally I'm good to go. And if someone were to like reach out to me and be like, hey, show me this, this, and this, it would take me like a day or 2, but I could get it. And that's probably like the one thing in the nonprofit that I'm essentially searching for, but like it's not necessary, is to find somebody to literally do everything for us when it comes to the financials. The only thing I've always been nervous about is like you guys know where my heart is with a lot of this stuff. Say hi to your mom, Will. Hello. Your mom is like one of the coolest women I've ever met. Like when what was I saying? Man, I've drinking like 3 Rippets today and like 2 cups of coffee, and I haven't eaten yet. And I think that's probably why I'm losing my mindset.
Yeah, I want to go back to why I don't think people take the leap. I think that especially veterans are already set up to take that leap, right? And there is I read a stat, and I could be completely wrong, but it was like 49% of World War II vets ended up becoming entrepreneurs. I'm like, if veterans these days were to like even be close to those statistics, like I just think that, I don't know, not that there'd be better businesses out there, but the veterans are already set up with all this training, right? And they already have the mindset. I just think they're a really good candidate to get out there and get after it.
Oh, 100%. And I was actually thinking about doing something through Invoke Change that I've already been talking to a couple entrepreneurs about. I have two authors. One of them is actually petitioned to Congress, and the other one is essentially a life coach, helps people out with mental health. And then the other one is essentially like a business coach, teaches them how to start businesses. I kind of do all of that, which is kind of nice because it's all of that packed into one. But the problem is, I kind of I get too spaced out. I got too many things going on. But one of the things I'm planning on doing is some sort of seminar. Probably going to do the first one here in Minneapolis, but essentially make it like a veteran entrepreneur seminar, right? How to become an entrepreneur and how we can utilize, our veteran status as an advantage, because it absolutely is an advantage, man. There's different grants that we can apply for, even if you're not a nonprofit. There's business grants out there for veterans, and not only that, you have Voc Rehab, which will help you do a lot of the stuff down at the VA. So like a mixture of like telling your story, how you got to where you are, and then also we're going to have a bunch of different veteran owned businesses there as well, kind of like a resource fair, like people that are hiring, people that want to, start their own business can come in and learn from people who've already done it. I think that would be pretty cool. I'd love to have you have like a little table there with some of your stuff.
Yeah,
Maybe you can build your table.
Yeah. I think when you surround yourself with those type of people, you start becoming, well, you start getting the same mindset as those people, right? And so you want to hang out with people who you want to be like or strive to be like, right? And so you need those couple of guys who are going to push you and bounce ideas off of, and that's where you're going to do bigger things.
That's a big reason why I brought you on as a board member, not only because your knowledge in business, but you're also a good person. Like that's the hard thing. Everybody who we have within our nonprofit is quite literally some of the best people I've ever known. Like Jeff Lash, Chad, Tommy, you, myself, Judd, Rob. There's so many people within our organization that I absolutely love them. They're good people, but they're also doing awesome things. Like every person in Warriors Next Adventure is doing something that is significantly different than the majority of other veterans. And it's essentially using the strengths of all of the team that we've assembled and using them to their fullest potential, which is why I think our team for the row is going to do so well, because we all work very well together. We're all a bunch of goofballs. I mean, we say inappropriate shit at the right time, because if it's ever getting stressful, we just start laughing. And I can't remember a time where we've all been together where we weren't laughing,
it's having the right people in your team. I'm going to go back. You were talking about accounting and stuff, and maybe that's where you lost your train of thought.
Oh yeah, there we go.
John and I argue about this all the time. Like, I'm the type, I'm going to do it myself because I know it's going to get done right and how I want it to, right? And John's like, well, maybe we should just hire somebody, right? Because then you're not working and you can take care of this other thing. And, but that's definitely the balance, right? Like delegation without micromanaging. Delegation without micromanaging, and still making sure that the job is getting done the way that you want it done.
Yeah. And that's the hard thing too. Like, that's why I train myself to do everything. I do my web design.
I know. Yeah, but maybe sometimes it's better to hire somebody or delegate that project out to somebody else so you can spend your time elsewhere doing a different job better.
Oh yeah, no, 100%. Right. But I train myself how to do everything, because if that person lets me down, I could fix it. That's the best part. Like, that's why I would say know how to do everything in your business, right? Delegate, but know how to do their job, right? Nobody wants to take orders from somebody who doesn't know what they're doing, right?
Oh yeah, for sure. Yep.
Like when we're working on the race cars and we need to get timelines done and everything, but I don't know how to build the transmission, right? Like I can put a tranny and an engine together, and I can put it in there, and I can put the drive. I could do a lot of these things, but if you were to pull apart a transmission, I don't know how to build that. So I'm not going to tell Gary that we need to get on track and we need to get this car done, because he's been working on race cars for 20 years, and I've just been kind of working on them here and there on my own. But like delegation within Warriors Next Adventure, So for some of you who are thinking about starting businesses, the reason why I do it this way is I need people that are reliable, but also good at what they do, right? So that's the reason why I took you, Chad, and Tommy just pretty much off of WNA, just to focus on Fight or Die. It's really hard to wear two hats all the time and raise money for two organizations. It's really difficult. So that's why I pretty much said, I'm just going to focus on Warriors Next Adventure. All three of you, don't worry about WNA, just focus on Fight or Die. And I was talking to Bryant on the phone the other day, and I'm like, my team has absolutely killed it. And they're like, you guys are doing great. I'm like, no. I'm not really in that mix very much. I was like, it's been Chad, Will, and Tommy have been absolutely killing it, right? My contribution is this, right? You know, I have a massive following on Veterans Action Report. You know, Warriors Next Adventure, every time I comment on there, it gets blown up, which is great. And then when it comes to social networking, that's where I kind of shine in the group, you know, because we've already built a massive following with Fight or Die between the four of us, but the four of us combined, pushing it out to social media, it's just massively grown, bigger than we've ever, you know, expected, you know. But for those of you guys want to check out what we're doing too, we got usvetrow.org. I kept screwing it up, calling it fightordie.com. And I'm like, no, that's not it. It's usvetrow.org. Go check out their information. The video, the 2019 recap, how many times have you watched that?
I can't count how many times. Like it's a random Tuesday morning. I need to get fired up, so I'm gonna watch this. Right? So yeah.
Well, it's not only the video, but the music in that too just gets me going. I'm like, God, I need to get up and do something. So the last week and a half or so, I kind of got a little sinus thing coming up. So I've just been kind of meh. And today with all the rain and everything, I got arthritis in my hands too. So I'm just sore. And I just didn't want to do anything. So I dropped my daughter off and I came out, laid back down on my bed. I was still working, but you know, I have that luxury now. I can just lay in bed and do everything I need to do. And I found myself just like scrolling through Facebook. I'm like, I have no motivation. And I played that video today and I'm just like, all right. And I got up and sat down on my chair. So, and it's, I tell people about motivation all the time. It's not always, you know, motivation is essentially bullshit. You know, motivation only lasts for that time that motivation is in your memory, right? After that, what do you do with it? You know, anytime you get motivated, you have to do something with it. You can get motivated and just like, yeah, I'm going to do this, but you don't act.
No, right? You have to be dedicated to it.
Exactly. And I think that's where our whole team and everybody at WNA and, you know, everybody we associate in the veteran community, the majority of the people that we, you know, communicate with in the organizational level, everyone's an actor. Like everyone's doing something, you know, and that's what I look for when I bring on ambassadors or, you know, board member. You're the only board member I've ever brought on after the nonprofit was built. I got a couple other guys in mind too, but I think the next person I bring on, I'm going to have a focus of one thing. Like the next person I bring on is likely going to be my fundraising manager. Focus on building fundraisers in all the ambassador cities and stuff like that, just because it's so hard trying to coordinate all of that and run all the programs and write all the programs and update the website. Like I said, it's nice to know how to do everything, but the more and more we expand, it's almost impossible for me to do everything by myself. I don't know what I'd do without you guys.
Yeah, in the future, I mean, we totally need to think about river trips, you know, 5 days on the St. Croix River. I don't think we need to be doing 155 miles. I think we talked about 100 miles in 5 days. You do 20 miles a day, and that's very, very reasonable. And I don't know, man, there's just something about that river that calms you, and it's just relaxing and stress-free. And most of the time your phone doesn't work, so you don't have to worry about, you know, getting emails and crap. It's just, I don't know.
The 3-day effect is absolutely amazing out there too.
Yep, for sure.
I want to say that day that we woke up and it was just like that super red and purple sky. The picture that you actually framed is just gorgeous, man. And then I totally made you take an Instagram girl photo for me. I was standing up on that log. And I'm like, yeah, do it for the Instagram. But no, I got some great photos from that too. And, you know, photos are just, essentially still frames of memories. And I have a terrible memory. So I love pictures because I lose a lot over time just because the amount of times I've been knocked out and, I had my head wrung. So like I'm the guy who's always taking photos, and you take great photos. Tommy doesn't really care. He's usually just photobombing photos, but
all the pictures in my shop are of places that we've been on our travels. So like you said, they're just
great too.
Snapshots. Yeah
Well, it's a lot of people give people crap who take a lot of photos and stuff like that, but it's like I literally have a terrible memory. I need it.
No, and I absolutely make fun of my wife every single time. Oh, let's take family photos, whatever. Well, I look back now, and do you know how many pictures I have over 4 deployments? You know how many pictures I have? Mm-hmm. About 12. Yeah. Really? Over 24 months of my life, I have 12 pictures of it or whatever.
Exactly, man.
I wish we would have took more photos, but that's what it is.
I think that's the one thing I would say for anybody active duty: take photos, take pictures. Like, well, when you can, of course. Yeah. Like I go back to Iraq and Afghanistan, especially when we're on Scorpion 1-5 or Reaper 3. Those are both my convoy teams, and it was like the time of my life. I go back there sometimes from like flashbacks, and all I can think about is like, yeah, we were deployed. Yeah, we were in crappy situations. Yeah, I mean, life kind of sucked and we were lonely and stuff like that. But at the end of the day, we had the boys. We'd go sit around and smoke a hookah and talk shit to each other and wrestle in the dorm rooms and like just do it. We're just a bunch of men and women.
Yeah, a bunch of 22-year-olds that have way too much energy at the end of the day. Yeah.
Well, I had an interesting concept, and we only have a few minutes here. So I'll try to hit on it quick. I had an interesting concept said to me the other day by my friend Oren. Oren is kind of one of my shooting stars. I talk about that a lot, but he's like, I think one of the reasons why veterans tend to struggle so much is because they have all that time where we're allowed, and this includes women, but I tend to be a man, so I focus on men. Men can be men. We're men. We're trained to fight, to kill, to shoot, to do like all kinds of crazy stuff, and we're allowed to be that. And then essentially when we get back, we're, for the most part, people try to like feminize us and tame us. And it's like, we're lions inside of cages when we get home. And it's like, how do you expect us not to attack people?
Man, you're speaking from the Wild at Heart book.
Bro, I love that book.
Yeah. He talks about that all the time. And your quote that you posted earlier today, talking about,
affirmation.
Just affirmation and telling somebody you're proud of them, man. Guys need it. For sure.
Yeah, no, 100%. And everybody should read that book, Wild at Heart. Will gave me that book. I started reading it, but reading is really hard for me, so I listened to the audiobook, but I listened to it like 7 times. And there's so many Easter eggs, there's so many beautiful quotes in that book, and it made so much sense. But yeah, thank you for giving that to me, man. That's been one of the few books that has really changed the way that I think about life and healing.
Man, I think I've given out 20 copies of that book. So like all the guys, during the deployments, I always read it and handed it out to a bunch of guys. So
yeah, well, I appreciate it, man. Well, hey, we got to get going. We will see you in about 3 weeks ish.
Probably 4. Yeah,
4 weeks. All right, whatever. Well, we'll see you soon, man. I'm excited to hang out with you guys and Chad and Tommy. Go check out US Vet Row and go check it out. Are we getting more shirts here soon?
If you need some more, I have a whole pile sitting on the kitchen table. So
all right. And we are not shipping shirts just because we have so much going on. We don't want to focus on that.
You got to come visit us. Yeah, you got to come visit us.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, thanks, man. I'm going to drop you off and just say goodbye and don't go anywhere, okay?
Yep, sounds good.
All right, guys, that's actually all the time we have. Go check out Warriors Next Adventure and House for Warriors and check out our Patreon. Thank you.
Perfect.